Some information today relating to the Doctor Who serial The Smugglers. Let's begin. It was the first story of Season 4's broadcast schedule, but the last story of the Season 3's production block. Like Robot and Terror of the Zygons, much later during the earlier Fourth Doctor era, it was a story that was held over from one season to the next in order to give this production team a little bit of a cushion against the pressures of production. It was narratively notable for being Ben and Polly's first journey in the TARDIS and furthers the development of their characters as opposites to each other. While the War Machines had depicted Ben as sullen and Polly as vibrant, The Smugglers establishes Ben as a skeptic and Polly as a believer, in the same way as it takes Ben a significant time in the power of the Daleks to admit that the second Doctor is in fact the Doctor. Here he takes the better part of episode 1 to believe that he's travelled back in time. At the same time, it has also showed the way in which the two characters could effectively work together to solve problems. The story also contains an unusual amount of concise violence, which resulted in the only surviving clips of the serial. The ABC, Australian Broadcasting Company, took exceptions to a few scenes and edited them out, and then preserved those edits rather than broader episodes. So although it is mostly missing, a tiny flavour of the production has been retained. Additionally, the fact that the production unusually featured actual location filming in Cornwall attracted the enthusiasm of at least one amateur filmmaker. Footage exists of some of the location work, giving modern fans a further glimpse into the costuming and makeup of the serial. I've probably said this before on the channel, but I've always wanted to retire in Cornwall, perhaps. I feel like I want to end my life in the nation which birthed the kind of English language culture as opposed to living in this kind of Australian satellite country colony. And I don't know, I feel like my twilight years being spent in this moody, vivid, atmospheric environment that's, this kind of crummy seaside town like something out of Brian Eno's Ambient 4. I think that's what I want, in a strange way. I might regret that later, but it'd be interesting to find out, nevertheless. Anyway, so currently, all 4 episodes of The Smugglers, as you can tell, are missing from the BBC archives, despite the fact that The Smugglers was a ratings failure and is ill-remembered by modern audiences. It was given a boost by the BBC Wales team in 2011. It was elevated to the status of a loose sequel to The Curse of the Black Spot, since it tells the story of how the Black Albatross, crewed by Avery's former mates, went looking for the gold and treasure that Avery was hauling in the Fancy. Curse of the Black Spot. An 11th Doctor episode. Interesting, I guess. This is going to be a very difficult serial to try and think of things to say about, so we're just going to have to deal with that, aren't we, now?